Greetings, my name is Matias Saez and this is Alexis Lara, and today we will present two different texts to you. We will identify the genre of, and then we will dive deeper into their scaffolding, grammatical features, recurrence rules, as well as connectivity patterns and progression rules. So, without further ado, let's analyze the first text. The first text that will be analyzed is The Hare and the Tortoise. This is a fable written by Aesop, and being a fable, we can immediately distinguish its genre. This is a narrative text, and its purpose is to tell a story. Regarding the function, this text features a textual function because it uses language in order to create an organized and cohesive text. Now, let's look at the scaffolding of this text. The scaffolding of narrative texts is composed of 5 parts. The first one being the orientation, which declares the characters, what is happening, and when it happens. The orientation can be seen in the first few lines of this text, where the two main characters are being presented, what is happening in the story, and when it happens. The second part of the scaffolding is the complication, which will trigger a chain of events. This action will affect one or more characters within the story. The problem in question can be observed when the tortoise is challenged to a race with the hare. This action is the trigger for the story to develop, and in this case, the action will affect the tortoise because he's very slow and he does not have any opportunity to overtake the hare in the race. The scaffolding of a text is also composed of a sequence of events that describe how the characters react to the aforementioned complication, mentioning feelings and actions. This sequence of events can follow a chronological order or feature flashbacks. And in the case of this story, the sequence of events begins with the tortoise's agreement to partake in the competition and the start of the race, where the hare leaves the tortoise behind and proceeds to take a nap due to the tortoise's slowness. Then we have the resolution of the story, which appears when there is a solution to the problem or complication. In the case of the hare and the tortoise, the resolution of the story happens when the tortoise passed the hare and won the race. The final element of the scaffolding is the coda, which is the moral of the story and what could be learned from it. And here, the coda is that slow and steady can win a race, and there is a special emphasis on humility. In regard to grammatical features, these are used to convey a clear and structured text. In this text in particular, the story is being told in third person, in active voice, and it features an extensive use of tenses, such as past simple in its entirety, with a few uses of other tenses, like past continuous, present simple for statements said by characters, and one instance where future simple is used, like here. The text also uses simple sentences, compound sentences, as well as complex sentences. And referring to the connectors, the text makes use of many types of them, some of which being contrasting connectors such as but, and some others being addition connectors, like and. Finally, the text also makes use of conjunctions, such as coordinating conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and conjunctive adverbs.
When it comes to recurrence rules, there is the reception. The names of the protagonists, the tortoise and the hare, are used very frequently in order to highlight the differences that the two have. Anaphoric procedures are also used. He asked with a mocking laugh, but for the fun of the thing he agreed. He lay down. In all of these instances, he refers to the hare, giving further clarity and more cohesion to the text. Next is co-reference. Started the runners off. This sentence refers to both the tortoise and the hare while not actually pronouncing their names. And finally, elision. Yes, replied the tortoise, and I get there sooner than you think. The word would is omitted between you and think because it is very obvious to the case, meaning it would flow more naturally if it's not used. Speaking of flow, the most common progression rule used is chain progression. Since it is a story, one sentence thematically leads into the next, eventually leading from them talking to them racing to the tortoise winning the race. And the most frequent connectivity rule applied are connections. But and. These two words are used in the text frequently to either add information or contrast two points of view. Text 2 is all about bees, specifically about the dangers they face and the efforts that are being made in order to preserve them. When it comes to scaffolding, the opening statement relates the foods that we may even consider our favorites or at least staples within our diet with bees, but making reference that we should take care of them, which leads nicely into the rest of the information about how bees are in danger and the many cases where people try to preserve them. These cases constitute the content paragraphs of the expository text, each segment having their own topic sentence and further explanation of the effort or issue that is involved. This one, for example, introduces the topic of the bees' housing and how their structures can be improved to further their development. This other one shows how organizations are trying to spread the message of protecting the native bees into every single space that they can, such as schools, workplaces, and communities. When it comes to the grammatical features, one has to highlight the use of present simple and present continuous. The reason for this is because on the one hand, they're explaining many facts about bees that are unchanging truths, which is why they use present simple. On the other hand, they use both present simple and present continuous because at the time of writing the article, the research and the efforts being made to preserve the bees is something that is still ongoing.
The text features several recurrence rules. Let's look at them. First, the text makes use of anaphoric procedures, which can be defined as the use of pronouns among other structures to refer to previously mentioned elements. We can see this here, where the noun be is replaced by the pronoun they, in an effort to ensure clarity in the text. Lexical substitution is also used. This concept refers to the action of replacing words with synonyms to avoid repetition. This can be seen in this sentence, where the word bee is replaced by a synonym, in this case, the word pollinator. Co-reference is prominent in various parts of the text. This recurrence rule is seen when two words or concepts make reference to the same subject. This is noticeable here, when the term Planet Bee's lead scientist and entomologist and the pronoun he refer to the same person, Jason Graham. Elision can be also seen in this text, although not prominently. Elision is used to omit information that is already known or understood by the context of the text. This recurrence rule can be observed in the following sentence. Here, do you is omitted, and the sentence is simply rewritten as love your mixed berry smoothies and avocado toast, because the subject can be inferred and can be seen as an obvious and unnecessary element. Now, in regard to progression patterns, in this text the most frequent happens to be a progression with continuous theme, because there is a central theme throughout the whole text, and the rims are being added to provide new information. Moreover, each paragraph of this text begins with the same theme being the bees. Then this theme is expanded upon with new rims. For instance, let's look at the following paragraph. Here, the theme is the bees, as pollinators. Then, new rims are being introduced that give new information about these bees. Shifting the topic to connectivity rules, connections are used to link thoughts or ideas and to give the text a sense of cohesion. This text makes use of different types of connectors and conjunctions, but the most prominent ones were coordinators. Coordinating conjunctions to be more precise. There are many instances where coordinating conjunctions such as and or but were used. Finally, the second more prominent connectivity elements were subordinating conjunctions, like because or when, with only a few uses of relative adverbs like which.
This assignment gave us a more in-depth look into what makes the different types of text. It allowed us to explore their rules and actually apply them to real-life scenarios, rather than simply viewing the theory of it. As we will be teachers, this will be extremely relevant later on when we have to explain to students how different texts differentiate each other. And while the levels we teach at will vary, this discernment will be incredibly important towards developing their language skills.